I thought God was mad at me, very judgmental, wrathful God. God's already mad at me and doesn't want anything to do with me, so I didn't even want to concern myself with it.
It didn't take much for a young James Nixon to arrive at those conclusions. Coming from a broken home, he learned from his parents and his church that to receive God's love, one had to earn it.
You know, that boils over into myself as a kid. And so you're following those ways of brokenness and, in all different kind of ways. So you're trying to search, who am I? Why am I here? You're mad at your home life. You're mad at your, family and what you're growing up in. So I got into drugs at a young age, probably around 12 years old, doing pills or doing, cocaine, marijuana, those kind of things. You're looking for everything that you can touch, taste, feel, etc., to try to fill that void.
Even then, James still yearned for a spiritual connection and, encouraged by his mother, joined the Freemasons.
Because it says that you are your own God. You can do all these things. You don't need Jesus to be your way back to God.
Throughout his teen years, he continued using drugs, stealing, and committing other crimes. Then in 2005, he got a wake-up call when he was arrested for breaking and entering.
Just me in the car. And I remember having such an open conscience because it was either be in jail or prison the rest of my life, or I'm going to end up dying, on drug overdose. And I remember just thinking to myself in the back of the cop car, I don't want to live this life anymore. And from there, God just started sending people in the next coming months out of nowhere. I remember people inviting me to church. It was absolutely a pivotal point.
Given probation and community service, James started to refocus his life. He renounced the Freemasons, stopped using drugs, and began attending church. One Sunday, he realized his need for a Savior.
So I gave my life to Jesus February 2nd, 2005. From there, just was on fire for God because coming out of so much darkness.
James even attended seminary. But despite his zeal for his newfound faith, he held on to the belief he had to earn God's love.
God's, mad at me again, the religious mindset, and it put me back in bondage for about 11 and a half years. When that religious mindset was just kind of that stronghold in my life, I would find myself going back to things, like I said, materialism, sexual morality, pornography, just different kind of things at different kind of times.
Finally, in 2016, at age 28, James realized something needed to change. Late one night, he called his friend Josh, and the two met in the driveway to pray. When Josh laid hands on him, James says he was delivered from several demonic strongholds.
And he was sitting in my passenger seat. When he began to pray for me, I just started manifesting screams and, full manifestations that I had no idea about.
Before I could even say anything but Father, he started screaming and convulsing. That was my first time ever experiencing any kind of manifestation, and I was a little freaked out, but I felt the power of God. This is it. This is real.
For the next 2 hours, the two sat in the car praying.
I would ask Josh, what's wrong with me? What's going on? I love Jesus. And I had no idea. He didn't have a grid for it at this point. We were just trusting God. He just kept praying for me. And he was just being led by the Spirit to just speak to things as he's hearing the Lord to say, hey, pray this out of him, cast this out.
James says he was finally set free that night and came to a different conclusion about the true character of God.
Run into sonship. He loves you so much. Be a daughter. He wants you as a daughter, as a bride, as a son, as a man and as a woman.
James is currently engaged and has founded a ministry to help people understand that God's love isn't something one earns. It's a free gift to receive.
There's this mentality that I gotta just somehow, earn this, even though he's come and paid it all for me to be reconciled, for me to be a child, for me to be at peace. Jesus says in Matthew 11, come to me, all you are weary, heavy laden, I'll give you rest for your soul. And as we're enjoying each other, go and make disciples of all the nations. Go and baptize in my name. It's not a do, then be. It's a be, and you get to do. He's a good dad. That he wants to fill me, that he wants to free me, because that's the message I will preach until the day I die.